Order.
Mr Speaker, that was the Minister for Social Development and Employment. Unbelievable. Under her watch, unemployment has increased. Under her watch, 1 in 3 Māori and Pacific young people are unemployed. Under her watch, the community social service sector have been gutted because she got away and did away with Pathways to Partnership funding, which was aimed at strengthening the whole sector. Not a contestable fund where only a few providers could get funding. Under her watch, Mr Speaker, she operates under the dictum that more must mean more. The more she talks, then the more she believes what she says. But that just doesn't wash in many communities, because Māori and Pacific youth unemployment, 1 in 3 young people unemployed. What is she going to do about it? She introduces Community Max into communities where they know only for 6 months at best are they able to provide an opportunity to young people. And she walks out because she knows that what they're saying to her is absolutely true. What she says...
Member can't refer to the absence of a member in the House.
The Minister may wish to turn away from what I'm saying. However, she understands that what I'm saying is true, and what the community is saying to her, that a 6-month opportunity for young people to be employed, yes, is an opportunity, but it's not a sustainable one. And so she backs those people who volunteers and works in community organisations. But does she look for sustainable opportunities for those young people? No. 1 in 3 Māori and Pacific youth are unemployed right now, Minister. What are you going to do? Unemployment has increased under your watch. What are you going to do? You point to the Prime Minister's statement about being a great statement of hope and opportunity, of aspiration. But what did the Prime Minister say? He said, we're going to increase GST, we're going to revamp the tax system, and all the while no detail to those low, modest and fixed income New Zealanders about just how that will increase job opportunities for people out there who want to work. This party here in the opposition, Labour, we believe that people want to work, yes we do, but we also believe that government should take a proactive role in ensuring that jobs are out there to be got. When you see 3,500 odd people turn up in South Auckland for jobs at Pack and Save or at the supermarket up there, we know that people want to work, and nowhere in the Prime Minister's statement has he spelt out very clearly about how this government will create extra jobs. Shame on that minister. 1 in 3 Māori and Pacific young people are unemployed as we speak. What is the plan there? Raising GST certainly isn't going to help them or their families. Not increasing the minimum wage to a degree on which they can live will help. Yet that minister has the gall to be able to say to this House that what she's doing is working. Clearly it is not. She should listen to the sector, because they do have solutions out there. They want to work in a collaborative way. They know that by working together they can provide better opportunities, but they have to be sustainable. They're not into short-term fixes, and they're not into glossy plans or marketing speech from that minister. And I also want to comment on the kōrero from Hone Harawira. I tēnei wā ka mihi atu ki a koe hone aha kua kei runga te kōrero kei raro te rahurahu ko tēnei whare he wāhi hei taupatupatu i ngā tino kaupapa o te wā. Nō reira ka nui te mihi atu ki a koe. You raised in many of your kōrero hone on a number of other topics that it's time to put away the past and that we need to look forward. And I say that is indeed very right, because Māori deserve that type of leadership in this House. However, when we come to foreshore and seabed, that is a difficult issue, and no matter how much members of the Māori Party may continue to raise the issues of foreshore and seabed in this House, the political reality is very simple. They are not going to be able to deliver on the expectations raised out there in many Māori communities amongst iwi to say that Māori will own the foreshore and seabed outright. So they should just call a spade and say, look, our coalition arrangement with National won't deliver that. But then that gets them back to the point, the very hard rub and the position that they're in right now. and that is, how do you deliver something better than what's already there? I acknowledge the process that was undertaken to get what we've got now was an imperfect process, but let's look at the outcome. You have an avenue for iwi now to go into direct negotiations with the Crown to be able to strengthen their claim and interests in foreshore and seabed. You have an avenue now for iwi to be able to go to the Mighty Land Court to get a range of customary rights recognised. You have an avenue now for treaty settlements, treaty claims, who do have foreshore and seabed issues within the component of their claim to be protected from that legislation if it is their wish. You have an avenue now that protects access to our beaches for everybody. You have an avenue right now under the existing legislation that protects and preserves existing Māori reserves that go into foreshore and seabed areas. So I ask the Māori Party in a very serious way, what are they going to do that's better and strengthened from what is the position now? Because they need to come clean and tell the truth to many of those out there who have been led to believe through leadership within their party that Māori will own the foreshore and seabed outright, no matter whether in the past it was sold, whether it's confiscated, or whether by an act for some reason or other they had lost their mana over their particular area. That will be a very interesting landscape to be observing, and we're happy to do so on this side. But look, you just got to come clean with iwi out there, because the expectation that you've raised is that there will be absolute title and ownership, confirming ownership to iwi of their foreshore and seabed spaces. And I say, Hone, if you come into my area and you're going to promise that, you damn well better deliver on it, because they won't take anything less, and they certainly won't be happy with raised expectations that aren't delivered on. So let's go to the other issues, because there are some very important issues raised in the Prime Minister's speech, which I think at the heart of my kōrero I want to focus on where it hinges together for the Māori Party. Prior to the election, the Māori Party said that they did not agree with GST on food. In fact, they made a lot of comments that they didn't agree with raising GST at all. This is a coalition deal breaker, I think, because it was one out in the electorates that I campaigned on against my Māori Party counterpart that got a lot of attention from constituents out there, because they knew an average of 70% in my electorate earn 40,000 and under. They knew that if GST was increased, they would have less discretionary money to be able to spend on consumable items. Simple. So raising GST would be a big issue for them. And I think it is a coalition breaker, but the Māori Party are saying right now that it isn't. Well, the simple fact of the matter is, even though they've got a private member's bill in the ballot that removes GST off food, the reality is that they can just deny support to the government and then just squash it there. But no, their co-leader said this is not a coalition deal breaker. It will come back to haunt them. They haven't delivered on GST. They haven't delivered on no tax for under 23,000. They haven't delivered on a one-off payment of $500 at Christmas time for kaumātua. They're not going to be able to deliver on repealing the Foreshore and Seabed Act and delivering absolute title to Māori. They're not allowed to introduce legislation on entrenching the Māori seats, and they aren't able to achieve raising the minimum wage to $15. In fact, it's our member over here, Darren Fenton, who has vociferously advocated for that pathway, not the Māori Party. Their flagship policy, whānau order, nobody knows what it means. You've got one definition from Paula Bennett, the Minister of Social Development, on what it means, totally different from her colleague outside the Cabinet on what her definition is, and totally different, I'm sure, to other ministers around the Cabinet table. This is an interesting horizon. It isn't one that offers the opportunity on jobs and growth that the Prime Minister outlined at the opening of Parliament. The simple rejigging of taxation does not deliver to low, fixed and modest income earners in New Zealand, most of all young people. But more importantly, where are the jobs for the 1 in 3 Māori and Pacific young people who are unemployed in our country? This government should be ashamed of itself.